SahityaMitras on the occasion of Women's Day. As women, we have been celebrating this day, and I was looking at when it began, and as I'm sure all of you know, it was in 1917 in Russia that women got the right to vote, and so that was adopted in 1975 by the United Nations as International Women's Day, and so that is the reason we are all here today. Women have had a very different journey from men, as I see it, and her story, as opposed to history, has been quite what is the word? Quite full of pitfalls and some opportunities, and I think that for the future we need to plan, and we need to kind of create the space that we desire. I was looking up something on Greek mythology and the role of, and in Greek mythology, the Amazons were the tribe of women warriors who fought alongside men. And there's a beautiful ceramic vase which dates back to 470 before Common Era. So that's a long time ago, and there is this lady in trousers and with bows and arrows ready for battle. So the role of women has been changing and shifting, and I am harking back to a time when they were on an equal footing with men. And changes came later when landed property arrived, and I'm sure everybody is familiar with that. There is a Men's Day too, and that is the 19th of November. But we have to, I haven't seen that celebration, and there possibly are many reasons for that. So what are we celebrating on this day? We celebrate the social, economic, cultural, political achievements of women, and it is also the need for, gender equality. But I think we also need to look at some statistics, and I just thought that we should be sharing these. So the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Report, or Gender Gap Report 2021, says that it will take women 135.6 years to close the gender gap worldwide. In 2018, when I was looking for the same statistics, it was 217 years. So that seems to be some progress. And what is the rank of India in this gender gap? The rank of India is 140 out of 154. And the percentage of female population is 48.0% compared to 51.96% to men. So there is some catching up to do, and I think we need to, there is awareness, but I think we need to do a little more to catch up. In Gujarat, the sex ratio is 919 females to 1,000 males. This is of course the 2011 census. I was trying to look for information data for today, but I haven't managed that. If you turn to female labor participation, the rate in India has fallen to 20.3% in 2019 from more than 26% in 2005, according to World Bank estimates. And of course, they compare these to neighboring countries like Bangladesh, which is at 30.5%, and Sri Lanka, which is 33.7%. So these are figures, of course, before the pandemic. And the Pew report of 2020 gives very much the latest attitude on gender in India, and it would be useful to refer to that for further information, or something that we can that we need to have. In that, they say about half of the Indians, that is 51%, say it is more important to teach boys to respect all women, while roughly a quarter, 26%, say it is more important to teach girls to behave appropriately. That is something that we will, as women and as mothers, need to relook at. gender biases in the household are very apparent. And the first time I noticed it when you're sitting around the table and it has to be cleared, and it is the girl's duty, it is the daughter's duties and the mothers to do that, while the men and the boys will just sit and wait for it to happen. I run a center for the deaf, and in that, when I used to ask the staff, the teachers, that there's a lot of mess, the kids have cut up something or made a project. I said, we need to clear it up ourselves. The children need to do that. And the first thing they would do is to give the girls the jharu and dustpan. And I'd say, why? Why is it that they have this role to play? So these are things, these are small things, these are biases, these are innate, these are cultural, but these need to be addressed. And so what is our way forward? I think basically it is a question of all of us as parents and as adults bringing up children, bringing up our boys and girls in a way that both sharing the housework, and girls don't always have to be the nurturers and the servers and the people who look after other people. I think it needs to be much more equal. And to turn to SaMvitti, for which the reason I am here, it was founded 5 years ago, in 2017, and it has widened its reach. It has absorbed more people, more like-minded women to come in and create the space for themselves, the space that is provided by literature, the space that gives them the opportunity to express themselves, to imagine, to go to places and to experience ideas and concepts which they possibly will never be able to do so in their own lives. And this is of course a route to empowerment. It is a route to your potential, your ability to achieve your potential. And I think for women that is most important. For women it's important to have their own time. As Virginia Woolf said and wrote about a room of your own, or one's own, this is the space that women need to carve out for themselves. And I'm sure that what SaMvitti has provided is deeply appreciated by all the SahityaMitras who have joined and who are with the organization. Thank you.
Thank you, Nisha. It's a wonderful expression. Right. And I will just do a brief introduction to the audiences that Nisha Grover is the founding director of Trust. It was founded in 1988. But Nisha has been working since 1974 in the education sector. And she's the managing trustee at Trust currently, and she's the founding trustee as well as continuing trustee of SaMvitti Foundation as well. And she has been always with the team, with SaMvitti at the events. And last year, as we looked the inaugural ball celebrating International Women's Day, Nisha Grover was there with us as well. And your encouragement has been invaluable. We really appreciate you being with us. And your sharing will really inspire all the women who are listening to you and who are following you thoroughly. Thank you so much for your achievements. So just a few simple questions, like if you talk about the International Women's Day and we celebrate it every year on the 8th of March, so how much worth is the celebration? Are women growing with each year? 2021 gets celebrated and now this 2022. So are women growing every year? How do you see the scenario for women?
I think
yes, a little bit closer.
I think women are certainly more aware, but sometimes I feel the word aware is overused. I'm not 100% sure that it actually reaches, everywhere.
Right.
So we need to be a little alert on that.
Right.
And the fact that we celebrate Women's Day is not enough. I think it has to go across the population of women, no matter what strata, no matter what education background. I don't think that is happening. It's a little bit isolated, it's a little bit elitist, but that's a beginning. So I think that work still is, it still remains.
Right. And you'll be working with trust children and they're getting bad. So are the girls who have this disability empowered them in some way? What are the basic empowerment techniques to move forward in life, be more independent?
So, basically, a deaf person, the issues that a deaf person faces is in communication and language acquisition. And without literacy, you are actually relegated to being labor. So in spite of going to school, in spite of spending all those years there in classrooms and listening to people and obeying everybody, if you're not literate at the end of it, it's a complete waste of effort. So our basic aim at Akshaya Trust in Baroda is to see that they gain literacy, they gain communication skills, we teach them how to speak, because it is not deaf and dumb, never has been, it is deaf. It is children with deafness, and unfortunately these terms are used together. The fact that you cannot speak is correlated to the fact that you do not hear, but it means that if intervention can take place at the right time, many of our students speak. And Nisha Grover in fact gave a presentation at a conference we had in 2004. So a lot of our students are now in very well-placed jobs. They are data analysts. In fact, the company which is just behind where we are sitting at Paul Mason Consulting. So that's, and so the purpose is that we give them not only a happy childhood, I hope, that Akshaya provides, but also the fact that they can then make their own way, because that gives them dignity, having a job, and a job comes from being, conversant, being educated, literate, and being able to have communication skills. So that is the purpose that we have in front of us.
We are working on the core actually, not on the surface actually, because the core is really important to be able to, then the surface automatically shine itself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you come to Akshaya, you'll see that they're very relaxed, very happy. They don't have, and we mainstream them as well. So over the years we mainstream maybe 95 of our students, which means they go to regular schools in Baroda or have been, and many of them have done very well. Dhara topped Baroda High School in statistics, so she was in competition with hearing children, and some of them now are in banks. Dhara was in the DCB bank. So we try and see that they get the opportunities that other children take for granted. And so our motto is, give me an opportunity and I will achieve.
Great. And Nisha, I can see that you have taken the role of first respondent as well for the SaMvitti stories. And today's event was specifically designed in conversation with the SaMvitti. So how have your conversations with the SaMvitti been as the first respondent?
Well, I thought it was very brave of many SahityaMitras who have understood not much background in this area, in the fact that you are sort of, connecting and telling stories to so many people, to so many, you're using the channel of literature to communicate with people. And I think that is amazing that you have people from, all of us who come from very different backgrounds. When you move into another space, it's not so easy. It's a challenge. But I think that considering you started with 15 SaMvitti,
Yes.
School?
Yes. Yes.
And now you have 70.
Yes.
So obviously you've touched a chord.
Right.
There's something that has that has responded in them to what you are doing, to your mission, and has given them great satisfaction, as I have understood.
Right.
And there is a great learning. And I think as people, learning is something that all of us love to be in the space to be able to learn is an opportunity. So all your life, doesn't matter what your age is, but if you have this capacity and you have the opportunity to learn something that is different and it gives you satisfaction, I think that you are in a very win-win situation.
Great. All right, Nisha. It's up to you. Do you have any other expressions? And we have one of SahityaMitras with us. She's found here. And about SahityaMitra also, the daughter Krishna. Okay, તમારી વાત કરી છે નિશાજી સાથે? નિશાજી સમિતિના ટ્રસ્ટી છે અને અક્ષર ટ્રસ્ટના મેનેજિંગ ટ્રસ્ટી છે.
Come and join the conversation. आपसे है कि मित्र कब से है?
मैं 2 साल से
और आप यहाँ मतलब पहुँची कैसे SaHityaMitra के रोल में?
एक्चुअली मैं फेसबुक में थ्रू यहाँ पहुँची मम्मी मेरे साथ करके हैं SaHityaMitra मम्मी में तो उनका मैंने लाइव सेशन फेसबुक पर जोड़ा था तो मुझे लगा कि इतना अच्छा ये लोग करते हैं बहुत ही अच्छा लगा उनकी स्टोरी के साथ तो मुझे बहुत ही अच्छी लगी फिर मैं उनसे कॉल पे बात की कि आप ये कैसे करते हो फिर उन्होंने बताया कि ऐसा ऐसा है तो मैंने बोला कि मुझे भी आना है आपके साथ कि हाँ चलो मेरा सेशन जब होगा तब आप आ सकते हो फिर मैं एक दिन उनके साथ चली गई उनके साथ सॉल कम्युनिटी है ना वहाँ पे तो बहुत अच्छी तरह से स्टोरी कहते हैं तो मुझे बहुत ही अच्छा लगा उनका कहने का तरीका और जब सामने से उनसे कोई क्वेश्चन करते हैं तो वो इतने अच्छे से मतलब आंसर भी देते हैं उनके मुझे उनसे भी बहुत सीखने को मिला और जो स्टोरी कहते हैं तो वो नॉलेज जानकारी भी मुझे मिली तो मुझे पहले लगता था कि ये स्टोरी सेशन में ऐसे लोग ही मतलब जा सकते हैं जिसको साहित्य का नॉलेज हमारे जैसे का कोई काम नहीं है कि हमने तो कभी पुस्तक पढ़ी ही नहीं तो मुझे लगा कि ये कैसे होगा मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्ट था कि ये मैं भी स्टोरी शेयरिंग करूँ फिर मैंने गौरव सर से बात की गौरव सर ने बोला कि आप मतलब इंटरेस्टेड हो तो फॉर्म फिलअप करना पड़ेगा डिजिटल फॉर्म है वो फॉर्म फिलअप कीजिए फिर मैंने वो फॉर्म भर के दे दिया और एक दिन कॉल आया फिर मैं तो खुश हो गई कि चलो ये मौका मिला मुझे तो लगता था कि ये नहीं होगा लेकिन उन्होंने मौका दिया फिर ओरिएंटेशन में हम जाने लगे ओरिएंटेशन में भी हमको बहुत सारा मतलब सीखने को मिला बहुत से अच्छे साहित्यकार वहाँ पे मतलब उनसे हमको बहुत सारी जानकारी मिली किस तरह से वार्ता को स्टोरी को कहना कैसे हाव से कैसे फील करके उसको सबके सामने प्रेजेंट करना तो पहले तो हम ऐसे ही पढ़ लेते थे कुछ ऐसे पढ़ लेते थे और मुझे क्या था पहले से मैं काल्पनिक स्टोरी और ऐसी राजा रानी या परियों की ऐसी स्टोरी मुझे ज़्यादा पसंद है बच्चों के साथ भी मैं कार्टून देखती हूँ कभी ऐसी सीरियस नारी प्रधान स्टोरी मैंने कभी कही नहीं थी और मुझे ऐसा लगता है मैं पढ़ूंगी तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आएगा ऐसा मुझे लगता फिर इन्होंने इस तरह से मतलब ट्रेन किया ओरिएंटेशन में हम लोग जाते थे हर रोज मैंने कभी मिस नहीं
निशा की बेटी।
ये मेरी बेटी है, वो हर रोज स्टोरी मेरी सुनती है। तो
वहाँ से
हाँ, फिर मैंने वहाँ से शुरू। और कोरोना में तो अभी सबके सामने नहीं जा सकते थे, तो इस बार पहली बार घर पर आए तो वो बहुत अच्छा लगा कि चलो घर पर आए और ये सब शूटिंग पहली बार ये सब था सामने, तो साथ एकदम से बात करने को भी एकदम अपने ये वीडियो के सामने बोलना भी बहुत
सीख लिया आपने ना, ये सब
हाँ, सीख लिया।
नई चीज़ें, नई टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग।
टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग बहुत मजा आया।
बस पैंडेमिक के द्वारा और आपको लगा कि SaMvitti के द्वारा आपने मतलब कुछ अलग पाया है?
हाँ, पहले तो मैं किसी के अननोन के सामने एकदम से, जैसे आप अभी हो ना, तो अभी मैं थोड़ी नर्वस फील कर रही हूँ कि मैं बात कैसे शुरू करूँ। तो ऐसा होता है कि एकदम से किसी के साथ फ्रीली बात नहीं कर सकते। तो जब हम SaMvitti के साथ जुड़े तो बहुत सारा मतलब पढ़ाई, मतलब पढ़ने के बारे में पढ़ाई शुरू हो गई, वो किताबें स्टोरी की ये सब हम लोगों को शुरू हो गई। धीरे धीरे उसमें से बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला, नए नए विचार आए और फिर उसको आगे चलता गया और कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ता गया, आत्मविश्वास बढ़ने लगा।
आप प्रश्न
मैं
सामने
हिंदी में बोल रही हूँ ना, तो थोड़ा मैडम ने मुझे इंग्लिश।
मैं जब बच्चों के साथ काम करती हूँ तो मैंने सबसे कह दिया है अक्षर में कि भाषा एक दीवार नहीं बन सकती है, भाषा एक रास्ता है। कोई सी भी भाषा है जो भी आप इस्तेमाल करो, मगर आपको संक्रमण करना है, आपको कम्युनिकेट करना है, तो उससे आप पीछे इट शुड नॉट बी हेजिटेशन कि आपने कैसे इस भाषा के द्वारा बात करना। सो आई थिंक दैट जस्ट कम्युनिकेट, दैट इज गुड।
मेरा ये बहुत ही क्या बोलते हैं उसको, मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, वो कम्युनिकेट करना इतना आसान नहीं किसी के सामने।
आदत की बात
फिर
है ना, आदत की बात है। आपको 2 साल से जब आप जुड़ी हैं तो तब से और अब तो आपको अपने आप ही लगा होगा कि बहुत अंतर
नहीं,
होता है।
अब तो
कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ गया है।
हाँ, कॉन्फिडेंट है, क्योंकि पहले घर में भी एकदम बात नहीं कर सकते, घर में भी हस्बैंड के साथ भी अपनी फ्रीली कुछ बात नहीं रख सकते, अब रख सकती हूँ। अब अच्छी तरह से
women's empowerment। कि अभी women को एक्सप्रेस करना तो ज़रूरी है, because we are as people, everybody needs to express themselves। अभी during this corona time ना अजीब सा लग रहा था, हम सब isolated, no communication, no expression of thought, feeling, nothing, है ना। So as all people, women or men, everybody needs that। So women must feel that yes, they can। So our children also, our girls and our boys, दोनों को हमें ऐसे बड़ा करना है। Girls have to feel that they are people, they are not just girls। जैसे सिमोन de Beauvoir ने कहा, we are not born women, we become women। Right? How do we become? Because we get conditioned to becoming a woman। So this is how you behave, this is what you say, this is what you don't say। No, we are people with our own personalities।
Yes।
She has really grown. I've seen her since the days when she used to come to visit Amiti's sessions. Because she used to get mesmerized with Amiti's narration and expressions. And we really hope that one day she will also be able to express the same way that Amiti does. She's a mentor.
I'm sure।
This is what SaMvitti is trying to do. Bring out the women as more expressive individuals than just being women and just being। I am the प्रयत्न जिसके जो women को खोलो उन्हें बात को
એટલે SaMvitti
कि 135 years बाकी है वर्ल्ड के लिए close the gender gap between men and women. 135 years.
135 years.
के बाद ही ये change होगा gap. So it's a long journey, long process. But I think यहाँ we need to expedite it in India. I think it's definitely, especially people who have the in some sort of situation where we can bring about change. Like even in a small way, okay, with deaf children or with the staff. There's so many people working with Akshay. And trainees, we get so many young children from different states like Rajasthan and Invitee and they're training to be teachers of the deaf. They're always so nervous and they're so, the girls are, and I say, no, you stand straight. You stand straight and you look everybody in the eye, don't go around like this. And that is how they come to us, but when they leave, they are quite different. So ये SaMvitti actually करती है, it gives you a platform that you can develop, you can grow and you can blossom. Some of the other ladies want to join us?
Yeah, it's a team SaMvitti. You might know Shujit, you might know Koli.
Yes, definitely. I've met everyone.
She's Neha.
I know.
Neha, yes. And Sejal has recently joined.
Yes.
And Alka ji is actually, she is with Darshini at her residence. And she cooks food and takes care of things there. But because we have a program here, she has volunteered to be. I have been telling Neha to join, but then she's a little reluctant.
Slowly, gradually.
Gradually, yes.
Gradually, Netra, you will join us. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So, if I have your permission,
Yes, yes, it's up to you, ma'am. Yes, it's up to you, yes. It was a pleasure having you here.
thank you so much. Thank
So
you
much.
for this opportunity and being able to be with all of you. And especially now, so many months have gone by. We haven't had any kind of program yet, but we all had COVID.
Okay.
For some program. So this was lovely. Very nice. Thank you so much for this.
Great. Wish you a very happy International Women's Day.
Yes. And all the best to SaMvitti.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is the last time.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.